Good afternoon, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another YouTube video with me, this ridiculous face on the internet. This is very much a real-life sort of video. Currently sound designing a little short Instagram reel that I shot with a very good friend of mine, Tommy, Coach Tommy, NRG. And I thought this would be a good opportunity to jump on to the internet, to YouTube, and talk you lovely guys, gals, boys, girls, ladies and gentlemen, through how I sound design stuff. It's going to be pretty loose, almost a bit like a live stream. So I'm just going to talk and sound design it. So I hope you enjoy. What I've got so far is a track by a guy called Roly Porter, who makes crazy music. And we've split it up to where we've got an intro and then we've got a sort of this final couple of clips that are super weird and super duper like tinny and high-endy. We have what we call picture lock. So I haven't graded bits of it yet, but we've got the flow of how everything is going to go, and I've put in the start and end tracks so far, so we can have a look at what those are sounding like at the moment. So that's our current flow so far. We've got this crazy intro, and it all sucks out. There is meant to be a big gap there, because what we're going to do is have this lightning hit with a lightning sound, so a big hit, then a couple more hits here, hit. Then we are into a bit of crazy sound design here, which will be, I think we're going to pull another track out, another bit of music out, which is going to do most of the heavy lifting there, and then we're into a couple more crazy moments, these flashes, bang, bang, and then we've got this at the end, and I'm going to sound design. I think we're going to have some loose ambient sound design in here, so like footsteps going, and we're going on away. What I like to do is kind of like I'll speak out the sound design literally with noises from my mouth as I'm watching it to start to gauge how I want to play it. So we've got whoa, whoa, whoa. Those need to be little scratchy hits there. So like, and then whoa, 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 whoa. Running steps. Kind of ramp up into the end. So let's do that. The way I organize my sound effects is I basically have an assets folder. I've got sound effects here. There are two main people I use, Ocular Sounds and a guy called David Whittaker. And then I've got basically all the sound effects I've ever downloaded ever in this folder. And as you can see, it's pretty fucking long. So what I do there is if I'm not digging what I'm hearing from my two very go-to sort of sets of packs, I've got a bunch from Ocular Sound. David Whittaker makes this automotive sound pack that's fucking so good. And actually it works really well for non-automotive, non-car. You don't have to be a car shooter to download this pack, because it works so great for kind of these kinetic, high-octane type of videos. So, sorry if I don't talk through too much of this, because I do actually have to do this edit. And I just thought it would be good to kind of do it with you there, with me. So, let's get into it. Okay, so these just need to be hits, and let's go from our Ocular, let's go into our hits. Down at the bottom, this quantum pack is... Yeah, I want something with a big impact at the start of it. So. And so I'm just going to layer in a bunch of these. What's quite good there is you get this reverse of the London Eye. So what I might do is duplicate that last one I put in, right click, change clip speed, reverse speed, see if it does anything weird. Ooh, see if it does anything weird. Try and reverse things occasionally, because it's a very different sound to how you kind of think it might be. Maybe let's bring it back there. Nah, not really vibing that. Let's put a few more in. That's good. That's got a little tail that actually works quite well there. What I'm doing there is just muting the track to see if the sound design works well without the track. Because if that is the case, then normally it's a good indication that it's all sitting well. If you mute your music, does it still play well with just your sound design? It's pretty good. And actually, does it play well? Kind of want some more. What can we put in here? And actually, we've got these tiny little clips. It's such a quick little sequence, but it's really obvious he's screaming. So what I am going to literally do is go onto my phone, onto my voice memos, and just do a bunch of screams. And we're going to bounce them off the phone onto the laptop and just use them. Ah! Ha! Ah! Ah! My neighbours are going to probably think, what in the fuck is going on over in flat 2? Right, airdrop to you. Thank you. Gonna drop that straight into the timeline. Here we go. Oh, right, that was the first one I did. So. Very forward. What do we want then? If we want to blend things, we want to blend this more, we're going to use a reverb. I haven't even set up this thing properly. I always add like 50 audio tracks because you might get close to using all of them. And if you're not using close to 50 audio tracks, you ain't sound designing well enough, young fella. Right. So let's stick a reverb on that. Bang, bang, make it huge. Whoa. What would also be cool to double this up is like a lion roar. Let's go to music bed. See if they've got any. Actually, it's not downloading well for us. So let's go to music bed. Which is my preferred site of choice. I am a friend of the brand of Music Bed, so if you would like a little 14-day trial, go ahead and click the link in the description down below to get yourself 14-day free trial of Music Bed. Let's go to sounds. Let's find Lion Roar. That's cool. So let's take it. Ooh. That's like the MGM intro one. That's what we were looking for. Cool. So let's go ahead and downloads. Chuck both these on. And what we want to do actually is cut everything off when this comes back in. Because when our next shot pops in, as we see here, we just want it to go bang straight into it. Let's have a look at these two things. Actually, let's keep that here for the thunderclap. We are going to put more proper thunder sounds in here, but let's just double it up with that, because that's really good already. It's a good bass. It's very nice high-end lightning. Lightning's kind of... I always find it tricky to find high-end bits of lightning, which I know sounds strange. So, like, when I talk about high-end, I mean frequency. So, like, mids, lows, mids, highs, bass, mids, trebles. Yeah, so that actually works well for our next little bit. Actually, let's crank our line up a bit. Oh! Yeah, that's feeling fucking good. Here, we want this to be massive with our music attached as well. So... Gonna go ahead. We're using Mass by Roly Porter. What I'm doing here is I'm chopping it up, but what I am going to do when uploading it to Instagram is add the song into the Instagram, add the song in on Instagram Reels, because then you are legally covered to use that piece of music. It's a bit of a grey area that we're chopping it up and using it sort of to our own, for our own volition, but Instagram have paid the licensing rights to use music for individual creators. So, and I will tag Roly Porter. I will do all of the necessary things to be like, to show that this piece of music is from the artist that it is from. And then that's our weird, freaky section we want to take for here. So... is it? So, let's go and grab the middle chunk of our middle chunk of our track, we're going to use... Actually, we want that. Track changes a little bit there, so let's cut it there. Let's put that here, because then it will make sense for that to happen there. And actually, maybe there isn't much of a plan for this sound design, by the way, which is why I thought this might be quite a useful video, because I'm just thinking on the fly. Maybe what might be cool is that drops out there. We have a little heartbeaty moment here. More craziness here. Yeah. Make it totally not linear. Just make it so it's jumping around all over the place. So... Yeah, I like it. Is this going to be too freaky of an edit? Probably. But I don't think I care. Cool, so let's layer in a big smash here. So... this is where I love a lot of David Whittaker's stuff, and actually anything with a 2 in it. So, let's start with that. Basically, if you want these big explosive hits, you do kind of need to put a lot into it. So, layer, layer, layer. More, more, and more. Whoa. Ah. I will just caveat that I don't really know what I'm doing. This is just always what I've done. I just always add lots of stuff. There might be a sound designer out there who's like, good lord, don't listen to this fucking idiot. Actually, what I then want, the lightning's good, but I want even more rumbly sort of thing. So what I do is I go to my asset, sound effects, all sound effects, and then see what I've got to play with. And then see what I've got to play with in there. And then see what I've got to play with in here. What am I looking for? Thunder. Ooh. Boom library. When people ask about what sound effects do you use, I use so many that there's no one good place to start from. That's brilliant. Let's stick that in. So yeah, there's no one. I would get yourself something like a music bed where you can dip in and just get little sounds here and there. But start looking at packs. Start looking at very well-made packs by very well-made people, like David Whittaker, like Ocular Sounds. Don't rely entirely on your royalty-free sites, because I think a lot of the time they can get you good Foley stuff and good kind of like foddery sounds, and you can occasionally find something good, but when you really need these big, thick, well-designed sounds, you really need to go to a sound designer who sells them by the packload and get a bunch for yourself. But yeah, you can see how many I've got. I've just typed the word thunder, and that's how many things with the word thunder in that I've picked up over the years from buying packs. So yeah, you just want a big arsenal of sound to pull from. Actually, good technique is let's go down, let's keyframe a pan, do that. Let's just have all of these. There's an odd noise there. Because I'm trying to record this, I'm not doing this through headphones, which I always would, and I always would recommend doing that to you, but I'm going to do a final pass of just dialing everything in, and when I do that final pass, I will be dialing things like the pan function over here. That is where you're going to get a lot of thickness to your sound, sending things into the left ear, sending things into the right ear, sending things from the left ear to the right ear using keyframes. It'll start doing a business. It'll start doing other business for you. Okay, so what we want to happen here is actually, whilst we're in here now, I want a bit of a flash to happen in between these two clips. So let's do that. Let's make it a bit shorter. For these ones, Ocular are the daddies. So let's come into here. Let's go down to here. Put our hit in here. And what I'm doing is these little taily bits at the start, I don't want them, so I'm just going to get rid of that. I actually want a flash there as well. I think we want a lot of flashes here, so I'm just doubling up my little white solid here. My white solid has got a difference blend mode on it. Everyone's seen this. If you've watched any of my kinetic editing videos, you will have seen this used every fucking frame. You're not going to get sound like, listen to that. You're not getting that on your licensing, on your music licensing website. So what are we going to do here? Because what's happening is we're sort of glitching in and out, but the track has so much high end in it. Such this big wall of sound, which is great, which is why it's there. But how do we do this without... What I like to go back to the start and watch it from the beginning. If you ever struggle, just go back to the start, watch it up to the point you were at, because your brain will start working. We have got... What about our little... No... That's just paper getting... See, that works well. So that's a paper turn sound effect. And what we could do as well, we just want to just cranking these all up a little bit, a few dB. I just want to see, there's an effect. I just want to put a distortion on it to see if it's going to change it that much. Let's go lo-fi radio. Just to see. No, it's actually taken all the high end off it. So that ain't gonna work. Okay, so that is a decent bass. I think that's probably, they're all just a bit too hot. Oh god, that's 6 dB. That's why. Let's bring that down to 4 and that down to 4. I just want to double. I just want to double up that again. Let's go back to our media pool, back to our all SFX. I'm going to look for glitch, because I know we got a lot of glitches. Yeah, something like that. Actually, I just want to see... What's happening here is the paper turns are taking up too much of the frequency. And then I can't hear what's happening underneath with the glitch. So this is where we're just going to try and balance them down a bit. So I've pulled all the paper down. Ah. Come on. And my mouse and keyboard aren't working. It's super helpful. This little reverse. Just going to go into... Just going to go into the... What are we going to try here? Let's just... I'm going to do that cyberpunk hit, but I'm going to reverse it. Yeah. I think because the footage is being reversed, I think that'll work. Yeah, nice. And then, ooh, I like that. God, that's a great sound. David Whittaker, you naughty boy. Oh, and then that just gives us... Because you're not... And this thing, you're not hearing that whole sound as you hear it here. But you're getting... It's got so much punchy low end that you're getting that... You're getting the combo of the two, the sort of swipe and then the hit. That it works great. But you don't want to... If I then was like, I want to hear all of that, just turning it up probably isn't the solution. Because then it's too loud. You've got... There are too many things taking up other frequencies where that deep distorted hit needs to be sitting. So, like, what if we got rid of Mass, the Roly Porter track? That works, but like I don't know why you would do that. Anyway, I don't really know what I'm trying to explain here. Basically, it was that it sounds amazing here. What? You don't hear that whole thing when you put it in here. And often that is going to be the case with a lot of sounds you're pulling into timelines. Don't expect your brain and ears to react the same way when it's in a timeline with loads of other stuff going on as you react and hear it when it's in your media pool and you're just like, oh, that sounds amazing there. And you think like, oh, I'm going to pull that in so it would work really well here. And then you're like, oh, why is it not working as well as it does there? It's because there are other things happening around it. So you start to get a sense for this with the more and more you use sounds and understand when things will work well and what you need in a situation to evoke a feeling when, you know, you've got a cut or you've got something going on. Actually, now we've gone back. This is the thing, where you go back and go back again. I think the Oculus stuff's great, and it's all going to stay in. I just want to try a few other little layers in here. Of Mr. David Whittaker's. So that works. That'll work well on that transition there. Yeah. Here I kind of, and this is where this might not work, but I kind of want a downer going, ooh, when that hits there. Come on, Mr. Mouse. Oh, and the keyboard's gone as well. What is going on? This is so annoying. This is where we're going to need to be careful. Because what I want to happen is a big downer, basically. A big boom. And actually, Daffeth has got a few of them. We just are going to have to crank it up loads, so it might not be the right thing to do. It's probably not a downer, it's probably just a big hit with a lot of reverb. Yeah, which I know of one that I have got. Which is just a big whoosh hit. Yeah. But I don't want the massive tail on it. I don't want the whoop. Oh, I just kind of want the hit. Or maybe a little bit of the tail. Not the full thing. Okay, we've got to here again. So I think we want to rise up here. So a good thing to combo with your risers is basically just increase the volume of your track. in using keyframes. So one keyframe there, another keyframe there. Let's pump that up to like 6 dB. Because that already acts as a bit of a riser for us. And then we can put a riser in. Yeah, the end of that's great. God, it's very long. And then we want some hits as well as our lovely Tommy screaming at me. These are so funny when you get people to shoot these like in the flesh because they're just going and no noise is coming out because you're in, you know, we were in like Leicester Square. No, we were in Trafalgar Square in the morning, you know, and there's lots of people on their way to work, and so we don't just want to be screaming in everyone's faces. Maybe what could be cool here is for the key, because the key we are in, maybe we have like a tonal note that carries that on. And actually, could we have our lion again? Actually, I think what we want to have here is I want to reverb that out. Which you do by basically double that up, drag this out, keyframe 1, 2 frames forward, another keyframe 1 frame more forward and down. So keyframe 2 frames forward, keyframe 1 frame forward, volume to 0. This works on any software you might have. I think it does anyway. I can't imagine why it wouldn't. Reverb. And this is called a reverb out. So it is just reverbing out. Funny that. Sorry, what was I doing there? Just if anyone didn't see it, this is basically the size of room your reverb is operating in. So I do this totally roughly. Just reverb time a lot, make the room big, and then I like to pull it back a couple of frames. And let's just double up that. What I was going to do is use a different scream, so we're not duplicating our exact same sounds from the beginning, but, like, don't particularly care. And actually, let's... One way you can change things slightly is in DaVinci you've got... It's brilliant, it's just right here. As one of your options. Even one semitone makes that sound a bit too high. Actually, I want to extend this, so... Just do what we did before. We've already got reverb on this clip, so all we need is just a tail to disappear. Oh. Why's that not worked? I'm confused. Are you confused? I'm just going to do what we just did. Don't know why this wouldn't work. Do we just need to do it on this bit? So keyframe 1, 2 frames forward, another keyframe 1 frame forward, bang, down to 0. Oh, and my DaVinci's crashed. Great. Oh! How much have we lost, boys and girls? Not much. Cool. Am I... Oh, I'm just going to drop that down to a coarser resolution so we're not... So we're not mincing. What? Why is that not... That can't be heard. It's because there's reverb on it already. What should I be doing then? Okay, what I'm going to do is extend this till we get to there. Then put that on. Yeah, cool. That can die off. This can then go... Bang, 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 bang. Oh, I don't know. Why is my lines rule now gone? What's going on here? What have I done? Okay, fine. Don't know what happened there. Like I said, I don't have a clue what I'm doing. I just wing it. Is that lion doing enough? Why is that not echoing out now? For goodness sake. Oh, it is. It's just not. Okay, kids, I'm now sort of struggling a bit. I'm going to stick more coffee into the mug and just hope that solves everything. I think this is very cold coffee. It's just about not too cold. So we're going to cut the video with the magic of video editing. When we come back, I'll have figured out what I'm going to do next. But I'm just going to sit with this for a bit. Because what do we do here? Talks about doing a tonal like... No. How would we do that? We could come back here onto our lovely keyboard and play the note. I have to cut my voice over because that would require me to get back into GarageBand. Alright, give me a minute, I'm just going to watch this. Alright, okay, I think I figured out what I want to do. We are going to put in a clock tick. Ticking clock. Watch. Have I not got a tick? Something like that. Bit Nolan. So we're going to go clock tick and heartbeat. I think that's what we're going to do. So I'm just jumping ahead here. The ADHD is getting the better of me. Yeah, cool. Just thinking now, I want to bump that end bit of music up by a few dB, and then add our little riser end like I described before. And actually, I think it needs to end there, because it kind of does that, and then the waveform sort of... I just want it to rush into the end. And you can do that through volume, but also if you're working against the natural flows of the track, that ain't going to work. Nice. That's nice. Pull this back. That's very, like... very forward. That's maybe... Thing is, it's only... all this clock ticking is high end. So if I roll the high end off, that probably ain't gonna work. Yeah. Yeah, that that ain't gonna work. Let's turn that EQ off then. I think it's just a presence thing. So if we just turn it down low enough in the mix, even lower, minus 16 dB. I think this will work. Let's just see. Chuck a heartbeat in there. Nice. That's not a heartbeat, but it sounds way cooler. I mean, it says it's a heartbeat, but I don't think it is. What could work well is if this kind of ramps up like drums, like... So, let's just do this. We are experimenting a lot with this edit. So what I'm going to do is put all them together. Yeah, that's the right... Boom, 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 bop. So what I'm then going to do is right-click all of them, compound clip them. Let's go drum beat, just because. And then we're going to go keyframe the volume. Let's just knock that off at the end. Ramp it up to like... Okay, that's way too much. That is peaking massively. And then let's match this with a riser. So we've got and we've got shh. I like. It's a bit too. quite what I'm looking for. Maybe if we EQ it a bit, change the pitch slightly. I'm just going to knock the semitones down loads. Nah, it's just not the right sound. It almost could be a whoosh. Yeah, rather than a riser. I mean, a whoosh is a riser in ways, depending on at what point you cut it. That's what I was after. And actually, the peak of that whoosh is there, so let's cut that end off it. What you could do as well is maybe just a little bit short for me. So let's change clip speed, put it down to like 60. Just give it a bit. Ooh, sounds weird now. Might not sound weird in the mix. Yeah, it does. Back! Come on, Zed! Come on, Zed! Come on, Zed! Get out of there! And then here we want, like... I think here we just want chaos. Just, like, glitches and hits. Not loads. Just so long as everything acts on 1 clip, 2 clips, 3. So we've only got 3 little segments here. And I might just take the glitches from where... No, let's look for fresh ones. See if anything else pops up. Yeah, let's find some more glitches. Oh, that's quite cool. That little the middle of that's cool. So let's just take that. I think that's ocular as well. It is, isn't it? That works so well there. So there's one layer, and then we just build on that. Okay. For glitchy stuff, a good thing to do is like just put holes in a sound so it goes so it comes in and out. Cool. So we've got a bit of a weird glitchy soundscape there. And just a couple of hits now to finish that section off, I think, is the way to go. Yeah. Does it need hits? What's that at the end? Don't want that happening. Oh, it's that. That little spike there on the end of that. I kind of want a tail to come out of this section, so let's put a couple of hits in. Nice, and then a couple of hits in, and then a big something with a bit of That's a bit too gunshotty. Yeah. Maybe that? This little bit, I just want one tiny little glitchy noise. That's maybe a bit too hot. We can just double it up again, but just take one tiny little bit of it. And maybe make it a bit louder. -9. And then I think it's just Foley. I think it's just Foley now from a running perspective. Let's come back to music bed. Let's go into our sounds tab. Back to music bed. Let's go running. Hope it just... I've decided not to put any footsteps in, because I think this part of the song is really weird. Going... So I think just all the... We've had a onslaught sound, and then it all just gets sucked out. Maybe we bring that drum beat back. Oh, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to go to here, decompose it in place, because we want the original bit of sound back. Yeah, that was it. Actually, let's move it to there. I think that's pretty cool. I think this whole thing's pretty freaky. Final bit of colour, and then we'll be good to go. But let's just have a little look. Yeah, that's freaky deaky, and I quite like it. So, I didn't know what that was going to end up being. I don't even know if it's any good, and I don't know if this video is going to be any good, but maybe, if anything, you can take out of this video something to help you with sound design. There are some tricks and there are some things to do, but largely it's a lot to do with your ingredients. These are all from brilliant sound designers, and it's then up to you to use them well. So, hope you enjoyed this video. Maybe see you in the next one. Maybe I won't. Okay, bye-bye.